ConCourt to hear IEC's challenge on whether Jacob Zuma can serve as MP on May 10, 19 days before elections. The Electoral Commission of South Africa's IEC dispute over whether former President Jacob Zuma should serve in Parliament will be heard by the Constitutional Court on May 10th. This will be exactly 19 days before the much anticipated 2024 national and provincial elections. They will be held on May 29th. The urgent case set by the ConCourt will focus on whether Zuma's sentence to prison hindered his ability to be a member of parliament, this time under the Umkhonto weSizwe MK party. Initially, Zuma was barred from the list of candidates contesting the elections after he was sentenced to jail for 15 months for contempt of court in July 2021. But he was then announced as the face of MKP 2 weeks ago. This is after the Electoral Court ruled that he will be on the ballot representing his party. He is candidate number 1 on the party's list for the National Assembly. But according to Section 47 of the Constitution, anyone who's been convicted or sentenced to more than 12 months in jail is not barred from holding public office, including the National Assembly. But no one may be regarded as having been sentenced until an appeal against the conviction or sentence has been determined, or until the time for an appeal has expired, the section states. Zuma only served 2 months in jail and was released on medical parole, so this would mean that he can stand as an MP. However, on Friday, the Electoral Court ruled that Zuma was eligible to stand as a member of parliament because he could not appeal the judgment of the Constitutional Court, which sentenced him to 15 months in prison. This was the court providing reasons for Zuma to stand. The former president has been in and out of court since he announced his endorsement of MKP in December. He was accused by the ANC of stealing the legacy of MK, the armed wing of the ruling, and also using the same logo as theirs. The courts have cleared him on that. Former President Jacob Zuma's MK party has fired Jabulani Khumalo, the founder and man who registered the party, as part of cleansing itself. Khumalo was sent packing with the other 4 members. Khumalo registered the MKP on September 7th with the Electoral Commission of South Africa IEC. This follows a meeting held by National Leadership Corps in light of the attempt by external force to destabilize the MK party. The expulsion of Khumalo, including Ray Khumalo, Becky Manzini, Lebo Mopeng, and Rochelle Davidson, according to the party, is a commitment to purify itself from rogue elements that would blur its lines to the 2/3 majority. In a statement, MKP highlighted that Zuma has requested Khumalo to register the party on his behalf, but due to aims of advancing the revolution of the people, he was shown the door. The party further maintained that the National Leadership Corps will always act and make decisions in the interest of all patriotic South Africans longing for change. We urge all MK members to be disciplined and trust the leadership as we work towards gaining support for a campaign that will emancipate the downtrodden people of our country, it said. This comes as the party faced leadership challenges earlier this year and announced a restraining order against its president, Jabulani Khumalo. According to the party, Khumalo had no mandate to stand on behalf of the party as he was not elected as a president, saying he did not contribute to MK's growth. Zuma has now replaced Khumalo's face on the ballot paper. It also encouraged the members to go out, campaign, and recruit for a 2/3 majority come election day, May 29th. The Constitutional Court has granted an expansion to former President Jacob Zuma and Umkhonto party to file their papers by the end of April. This follows a request by lawyers for Zuma and the MK party that they were not going to meet the deadline set down by the court because of time. They said they needed to consult with their clients and take instructions before they could file answering papers on the appeal by the Electoral Commission of South Africa, IEC, on the participation of Zuma in the elections. This was after the objection that Zuma was not eligible to stand in the elections because of conviction and the sentence imposed by the Apex Court. The Constitutional Court said Zuma and the MK party would have until the end of April to file their answering papers to the IEC appeal. The Deputy Chief Justice has issued the following directions. Respondents that are opposing the application must file answering affidavits on or before Tuesday, April 30th. Further directions may be issued, said the Constitutional Court in the new directions. The new parties had to file their papers by Thursday, April 25, 2024, but their lawyers wrote to the Apex Court asking for an extension until the end of the month. Zuma and the MK party have said the former president was eligible to stand as a candidate. The IEC had upheld an objection that Zuma did not qualify to be a candidate for the National Assembly. The Electoral Court had not provided reasons when it ruled its favor on Zuma to take part in the elections. This was after the MK party appealed the decision of the IEC to remove Zuma from the ballot. Will the ANC survive the 2024 elections? As South Africa heads into yet another post-apartheid election, ruling African National Congress ANC, which has been riven by the divisions in the democratic era, faces yet another threat from a splinter party. The emergence of Umkhonto MK party is not yet new phenomenon in the ANC, as there have been breakaways parties in the last few elections. In a strange twist of irony, most of these splinter parties are formed before elections. The Congress of the People, COPE, was formed in 2008 after the ANC decided to recall former President Thabo Mbeki. The ANC National Executive Committee took that decision after a marathon meeting in Johannesburg. When COPE was formed, South Africa was preparing to hold elections in 2009. The party was launched with fanfare amid speculations that it could pose a serious challenge to the ANC in the elections of 2009. The ANC has on average managed to get between 10 million and 11 million votes since the 1994 elections. When COPE contested the elections that year, it managed to get 30 seats in the National Assembly. This was at the time the number of seats for the ANC dropped from 279 in 2004 to 264 in 2009. In 2013, the EFF, yet another offshoot from the ANC, was formed, and it consisted of former members of the ANC and ANC Youth League. The EFF contested the elections in 2014 and it managed to get 25 seats in the National Assembly. It became the third largest party in the parliament in 2014. The Democratic Alliance was the second largest party after it got 89 seats. At the same time, the number of ANC seats in the National Assembly continued to drop after it managed to secure 249 seats. This was down from 264 seats in the previous elections. In 2019, the EFF increased its caucus in parliament after its seats grew from 25 to 44. The ANC seats dropped further from 249 to 230 in the 2019 elections. Dr. Nkala from the University of Johannesburg said the emergence of splinter parties may cause harm to the ANC in the elections. This was also shown during the local government elections in 2021 when the ANC lost some of the metros in Gauteng and municipalities in other parts of the country. I think the rise of the splinter parties has the potential to do the ANC electoral support significant harm in this year's election. The local elections have shown beyond any reasonable doubt that the ANC is losing support, especially in the major centers. Parties like Action SA and Patriotic Alliance ate into ANC support in most of the metropolitan areas, resulting in hung municipalities. The emergence of MK Party will definitely give the ANC a big headache. The ANC has already taken the MK Party to court on several cases seeking nullification of the party's registration and to block it from using the logo it claims as its own. If the MK Party did not pose any threat to the ANC, it wouldn't have paid huge sums of money for those court cases. I think the MK can damage the ANC's fortune in KwaZulu-Natal, especially as it is led by Jacob Zuma, a former president of the ANC, said Nkala. Nkala said Zuma built a strong support base in the province and this would impact the ANC support in the elections. On December 16th last year, Zuma announced that he will vote for a new party but will remain a member of the ANC. The ANC NEC decided in January that Zuma must be suspended while party processes will be instituted. The ANC has said it would allow its internal processes to unfold on Zuma. Zuma has been campaigning for the MK Party in the last 6 months and the party has contested some of the by-elections in the country. However, its true test will be on election day. But senior leaders of the ANC are confident of getting above 50% despite some of the polls predicting it will drop below that number and it would force it to get into a coalition. COPE may have lost its support, but the EFF has grown its support and the MK Party is yet to contest the elections nationally and at provincial level. And that's it from INJIBS Network. Stay tuned to our celebrity and gossip news.